few passions, but some of us follow our passions more intensely than others. Such people often end up paving new paths and setting up an inspiring examples to look up to. Our guest today is one such person. I am Prachi Oz and this is F&B Talks, an online interview by the Restaurant Times powered by Posist, a series curated for restaurateurs. Our guest today is Anubhav Sapra. Anubhav is a true blue food enthusiast who wears multiple hats as a food explorer, consultant, storyteller, and a YouTuber. Welcome, Mr. Anubhav Sapra, to F&B Talks. It's a pleasure to have you here with us.
Thank you. Thank you, Prachi, for having me.
Before we start with the discussion, I would like to give you a quick introduction to our guest, Anubhav Sapra. For Anubhav, it all started with a food walk through Facebook event back in 2011. A group of 30 food enthusiasts with a shared interest in food joined him to explore the food lanes of Paharganj. Slowly, his walk gained popularity. Both travelers and locals started coaching out and reaching out to him for guided food tours, and the rest is history now. Anubhav's work has been covered in national and international publications like the New York Times, the Hindu, Indian Express, National Geographic, and more. These days, Anubhav splits his time between Delhi food walks and his YouTube blog, which is having a fan following of more than 1 million subscribers as of now. Along with this, he runs a podcast titled The Anubhav Sapra Show, and you can also find him on Spotify. And he also engages in consultancy projects with the corporates. And must say, Anubhav, that you do love food quite a bit to be able to do so much around it. And to all the viewers right here, we have shared the links to Anubhav's blogs and podcast in the video description, and we highly recommend you to check them out. Let's begin with our talk today about food, food blogging, and creating a niche within the food industry. So my first question to you is, how did the idea of having a food walk come into the picture? And, what all were the challenges that you face and how were you able to overcome them?
So I started Delhi food walks a decade back. It's been like almost 12 years when I started in 2011. In fact, when I started, there were no food walks happening in Delhi. There were heritage walks, there were architecture walks, there were art walks, but there was nothing as such called food walks that was professionally organized. That time when I started, the name of the blog, it started with a food blog, in fact. So the name of the blog was Street Food of Delhi, and I used to write about the places, what to eat, where to eat, about the lesser known places, stories of the people, stories of the street food vendors, and people used to read those blogs quite religiously. And the name of the blog was Street Food of Delhi. So and I had a group, still it exists on Facebook. I had a page also on Facebook called Street Food of Delhi. So the idea came, like, I've been writing about the places, why not maybe have a group of people, like-minded people, who can go and explore different neighborhoods in Delhi. And Delhi is, like I always say, that Delhi is the food capital of India. Delhi is blessed to have food from all across India. In fact, now you can call it an international cuisine also, from all over the world in one city. So the first food walk which I organized was in Paharganj, and it was nothing was planned as such that I will be making a career out of it. I just randomly created an event on Facebook saying that we are going to meet at RK Ashram metro station at gate number 1 at 5 o'clock. And the idea is just to explore the food of Paharganj. And we walked from one place to another place. Yeah, so the story just you narrated, 30 people joined that food walk. And then we walked from one place to another place and explored the local cuisine of that area. And I realized that people living in Delhi, they don't know about the places, what to eat, where to eat. Let's say, I'll just give you an example. Say, Multani Dhanda ki Moat Kachori. It's a very, very popular dish. And there's a story behind it, that particular dish. Like, people from Multan region, they are settled there. And the masala which they use is very different from the regular masalas used at different places. So secondly, like Gila Kulcha is very popular out there, which is quite of very popular in Amritsar, but you won't find it everywhere in Delhi. So the idea clicked that I can do it on a regular basis. That time I had a day job. I was working in non-profit sector. I used to work with street kids and homeless people. And that time, that every weekend I started organizing walks in different places. So after my office hours, I used to explore the street food. Let's say if my office hour ends at 6 o'clock, 6:30, 7 o'clock, I'll be in Old Delhi, walking around the streets, exploring the street food dishes, talking to the street food vendors, writing the blogs. That's what I used to do throughout the week. And on Saturday, Sundays, I used to organize the walks. And then I
Oh.
realized that Delhi is also, as people from different cities, different states, they have migrated to Delhi. They have brought their cuisine as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give an example. Let's say CR Park. Park is majority is like Bengali population.
Mm.
So the food which you get is like Bengali street food, or we call that place mini Kolkata as well. So during Durga Puja, I organized a walk there. Then during Ram Leela, I was organizing a walk in Old Delhi. During Ramzan, I was the first one to in fact start Sehri walks in Delhi. We started at 11 in the night till 4 a.m. in the morning. So these were the kind of walks. And then in 2014, finally, I after 3 4 years of doing, I called it public walks, community food walks. The idea was not to generate any revenue. It was just for fun, just to explore the food of Delhi. In 2014, I quit my job and I started doing it full time. So when I started doing it full time, I thought like I should also to make it more sustainable. We should also have foreign tourists or travelers who are coming to city. They can also explore the city through food. So at that time, I got my company registered and all those like legal things which you have to do to run an organization. I did that, and then I started doing food walks on a more professional level. Then
Mm-hmm.
public walks, which was more of free walks, anyone could join and anyone can participate. It was more of a customized walks where people, they were sending me requests that they want to go on a food walk, and I used to charge them a certain amount. So that happened in 2014, and when I started, that was quite what you asked. There were many challenges that time. The first challenge was to convince the foreign tourists that eating on the streets is fine. Like we have a myth of Delhi belly. What we say that अगर सड़क पे खाएंगे खाना तो आप बीमार पड़ेंगे. So that was the first thing which I have to change the mindsets of people, that if you're eating on the streets, the street food is safe. Then second challenge was that Indian food is very spicy. For foreign tourists, they can't handle it. So that also I tried to convince everyone that spicy food and hot food is very different. Like heat from the chilies are different than the spices which we use. The spicy food, when we say it, it's like more of the spices which we use in cooking. So there were many challenges about the hygiene, cleanliness. So I had to kind of take into concern all the stakeholders, say the foreign tourists, then the street food vendors, then the tour operators, everyone, that if you are sending your guests on tours, they are going to be fine. So
Mm-hmm.
and Tashod, like it's been almost 7 8 years, more than that. We have been doing it regularly, and majority of people who come on our tours are now foreign guests, and there have been no incidents of as such Delhi belly. If you see, 2 days back only, there was this guest from Dubai. In fact, she did one story on Instagram saying that like many people back in Dubai asked her that what happened? You were eating on the streets with Delhi food walks. There any Delhi belly that happened to you? And she has done one this story saying that she is fine and nothing happened to her. She ate food at 8 to 9 stops. So that's what we did. Like we shortlisted the places where the food is safe to eat, what
Mm-hmm.
a foreign person can eat without worrying about their stomach. So these were the many challenges. So we kind of tried to change the perception of Indian street food internationally, and now it has
Mm-hmm.
become a big thing. People travel to India. If you have seen over last 7 8 years, many YouTubers, many chefs, many food writers, food journalists, they travel to India just to explore the street food. So I think we have been like quite instrumental in changing that perception that Indian street food is safe.
Correct. Absolutely. These are the major challenges I think that you face. But I really want to know that what were the challenges that you faced during the COVID era and post COVID? What are the challenges that you are still facing?
See, during the COVID era, the major challenges was that there were no influx of travelers. People were
Correct.
not coming on tours, and our like it's not with me. It's like with all the tourism sector, the whole tourism
Absolutely.
sector,
Mm-hmm.
and the tourism and hospitality. They were the first one to be like you said get. So they it happens with all of us. There were no tourists. There were no tours happening. We
Mm-hmm.
tried to do virtual food tours, but I was not quite satisfied with them because like you can tell a story through say what do you say like through videos. You can't make anyone like you can't taste the food.
Correct.
That was a
Correct.
major challenge. Like I can tell you the
Hmm.
story of let's say Red Fort or Chandni Chowk. You'll be able to listen that with pictures, but I can't make you taste a street delicacy. So you have to be there, you have to experience it. It has a context behind it. So
Hmm.
that was a major challenge. And then there were challenges from more from the street food vendor side as well.
Hmm.
And we did a lot. We started a campaign to help our street food vendors. In fact, we were the first one in India to start a campaign called Stand with Street Food Vendors. We did a
Hmm.
lot of research. We did a survey. We tried to convince FSSI and all the stakeholders that they should. Why should one eat on the street? How could we help the street food vendors? And once the COVID is over, once everything is fine, how can we kind of support the street food vendors?
Hmm.
So we did a lot, and now during the post-COVID, as we are still in the COVID phase. I can't call it post-COVID. We can see like now again we have upsurge of COVID
Yeah,
cases happening.
correct, correct.
But still, tours are happening. We have resumed our tours during the Ramzan. Also, we did tours, and for past 1 year, it's not the same way it used to happen in pre-COVID era. Like we used to do, say, 4 5 walks every day.
Hmm.
Now, like one walks happen every week. So the frequency has come down to that, and hopefully, in India, especially in Delhi, the tourism season is from October to March when there's winters. Mostly
Correct.
tourists they come around that time. So we are hoping that by September, October, now everything is open, but still there's still in the what do you say, the cases which we are reading. So that might kind of, I'm not sure what will happen, but internationally when people read that in media, many people won't travel to Delhi. So let's see what happens.
I just hope everything gets better and,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
all start living in the pre-COVID era like we
yeah,
used to.
yeah, yeah.
No, now, like in this era of, digitalization, wherein every day you find thousands of reels, thousands of blogs, images of food, people still remain unaware of, what is actually food blogging. So I really want you to, give me your take or tell me, like, what do you mean by food blogging, and what all factors one needs to keep in mind before starting it as a career or even as a hobby, maybe.
See, as far as I know, there's no as such course in any hospitality or hotel management course that if you want to become a food blogger, what all rules you
Correct.
should follow. It's and if you ask any food blogger based out of anywhere in India or internationally, they will say that they started food blogging as a hobby, as a
Uh-huh.
passion, because they
Mhm.
love food. Or some people would have, I'm sure many would have copied the idea, seeing that it might they might also make it a career. And so there's no as such course or certification by anybody saying that after doing this course you'll become a food blogger.
Hmm.
So, food blogging for me is all about following your passion for food, and it could be anything. Like say, it's more about writing your writing a journal, like writing your thoughts into words. Let's say, and now there's a difference between food blogs and food vlogs. Vlogs is more into videos, and blogs is more about like writing stuff.
Mhm.
And there are many online platforms like medium.com, then you have blog post, then blogger. There are many hostings websites where you can write the blogs, and it could be on anything. In food also you have different, if you categorize it, there's like it could be just about writing about street food, it could be writing about restaurants, it could be writing about just cafes, it could be writing about wines, it could be writing about tea, it could be anything. So there are many things into food and beverages where you can start your blog. And it
Mhm.
takes time to build up an audience. You have to keep doing it over a long period of time. So consistency is important. Secondly, it's also about learning. As I said, there is no course as such. So every day you learn a new thing. So it's, I think, more about cross learning as well. You
Mhm.
read articles of different food writers, food journalists online, or you follow a different blogs as well, and then kind of you comprehend and write your own blogs. So I think that's about food blogs, and one can make a career out of it. It takes time, like it happened with me as well. When I started, I had a day job. I was working in other sector, and I was doing it as a hobby, as a part time. You can say whenever I had time, I was doing it. I think it's more important if the person has some passion about food, then only to start it.
Mm-hmm. Got it. So, what do you think? Like, what all factors one must keep in their mind before they start with food blogging, or maybe, as a career, also, what all aspects do you think food blogging has to offer?
See, nowadays it's very easy to start a food blog.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, if you keep doing it over a period of time, you will have viewership or readership or followers, and you have different mediums as well these days. Like we have now micro blogging sites, like what
Mm-hmm.
we call Instagram or Twitter or Facebook. So you can write down your thoughts, comprehend it, and write it down. And then over the period of time, you can monetize your content, like monetize your blog as well.
Mm-hmm.
If you're writing a blog, you have Google AdSense. You can link your blog to Google AdSense, and you will have ads on your blog site, and you will get revenue out of it. Same happens with, like, say, if you are on any other mediums. So it takes time. You can make a career out of it. The only factor which I would say is important is consistency, and secondly, to do it only if you are convinced about it. If you really are passionate about food, then only enter it, not to copy like what others are doing. Everyone has a different style of writing, or
Mm-hmm.
so I'm talking more about blogs, I'm not talking about videos. So maybe if you have any question related to videos, I can tell you that as well. So the it has changed, like blogging has also changed over the past few years. Now
Mm-hmm.
it is more concentrated on videos, like visuals, than
Correct.
writing.
So, what is your take on, people, the trend right now in market, which I can see is reels, your 15-second mini blogs that we see on Instagram, that we see on, short video sites. So, what is your take? People rather are going towards reading, or people for food, I'm just asking, are rather going towards the video or visualizations that, as you talked about?
See, if you talk about the mass, if
Mm-hmm.
you the majority of the people,
Mm-hmm.
most of them are into reels, into visual content. You can call it a
Correct.
visual content. And but I think for me personally, it doesn't make any sense. If you go to my Instagram page, even if I had made any reel, the reel would have a story. It's not
Mm-hmm.
only like you make a reel randomly and add a Bollywood music or any music and then post it. So after
Mm-hmm.
watching it, you won't get to understand how is the food, what is being cooked,
Correct.
and if you are going to eat that food or not, if you're going
Mm-hmm.
to order that dish from a restaurant or not. So for me, it's more about like reel should also have a story, and over the period of time, the attention span of the viewers has come down drastically. Let's say there was a time when we used to watch long form content.
Mm-hmm.
Now all the blogging platforms or all the social media platforms, they are trying to push short form content.
Correct.
And for me, like who has seen like both the sides, I prefer more long form content where you can at least after watching a video, like say, I call it an evergreen content. If I'm making a video, I keep that in mind that after 5 years also the content should be relevant.
Uh-huh.
And if you make something like say for 15 seconds, you are like it's lost after a week's time or after 24 hours or after 2 3 days. It might get viral, let's
Mm-hmm.
say, or you'll get more views, but after a certain period of time it will lose its credibility or its value.
So, coming on to the next question, India is the biggest hub for street food, as you know, and people do consider it as an emotion here. So,
Mhm.
what do you think about the growing trends of street food in the Indian market?
You have rightly put it. Street food is just not as food for us. It's more
Correct.
about emotions. We are
Emotion.
quite emotionally
Absolutely.
attached to street food and to the
Exactly.
street food vendors as well.
Yes.
If you ask me what I used to eat in my college days or say in my school days, I still have memories what I used to eat there on the streets. So street food has that kind of emotional connect,
Correct.
which no restaurants, which no cafes could make it. So that's rightly put. And I won't say that's a trend. There's something which has been done only for the sake of then creating some kind of what do you say, eyeballs or some views or
Mm-hmm.
some growth, whatever you can term it. But it's not going to stay for a long time. I'll give you an example. Let's say in last 10 years, I've traveled all across India. I've seen use of mayonnaise, cheese, butter. These are
Mm-hmm.
the three, four things which have been widely used. Like say, I'll give an example of just one dish called patties, uh,
Correct.
veg patty or puff pastry, whatever you call it. So
Mm-hmm.
say that used to be very simple in my school days, in my college days. I've never
Mm-hmm.
seen it being transformed. For me, it's that's an emotion of eating, like what you mentioned. Street food is an emotion. For me,
Correct.
eating a patty outside anywhere, let's say a mini shop in Kamla Nagar or in my college canteen,
Mm-hmm.
or there used to be a small joint outside law faculty. I used to go there for 5 rupees, 5 rupees ka patty le liya, ek cup chai le li, और नाश्ता हो गया. So that used to be an emotion. It was a very simple dish. But now what has happened? If you go to a shop, they will open it up. They will add a slice of cheese. They will add some mayonnaise. They will add some different kinds of flavor, onion, chutney, whatever they have in their shop. They will add it and they will create a dish,
Correct.
and that
Correct.
becomes a something which has become a new thing. They have
Mm-hmm.
done quite some kind of experimentation, but over the period of time, I think the consumers, they have also started learning that these are not healthy for them. These are not sustainable way of eating.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can't eat mayonnaise or cheese or butter every day,
Correct.
but a simple patty you can eat every day, but not
Mm-hmm.
if you start adding every day loads of mayonnaise. So I think these are the trends. This is good form of I call it experimentation. It's fine. It will stay, but for a shorter period of time. Over a period of time, it will vanish and will come back to the same old stuff.
So, a very important, and I was very curious to know about this question was like, how do you find an exact place and exact food to review? What are the factors that you consider before searching a place to review?
I go to different places. I explore
Mm-hmm.
food and I blog about it on my YouTube channel and other social media platforms. So when I go to a new place, it's more about like we sometimes, like it depends where we are. If we are in South India, we tie up with a local person there and they take us around.
Okay.
Because say the way which I do in Delhi, when someone is visiting from another country or another state, they contact me for a food walk. Same
Hmm.
way I contact a local person in other cities that they can show me their cities, they can show me the food culture of their place, because you get a lot of insights from that person who has grown up there, who has knowledge about the food there.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, these days it's very easy to create a listicle. If you
Hmm.
go and just write down best places to eat in Delhi, there'll
Correct.
be hundred thousands of listicles up there. It's only thing is that you have to kind of rely on one of them. You have to read who has written it. It's
Mm-hmm.
written by a credible writer or a credible food blogger or anyone who has good like who knows about the place. So we follow that. So either it's online or we do it through a local person.
Absolutely. No, no. That's the best way I think one can explore.
Mm.
Locals are the best guides.
Yeah.
So here comes my last question from you. That is like, what is your vision going ahead? And also any advice to all our budding bloggers and influencers you want to give on a personal note?
My vision is that we have almost done 25, explored food of 25 states in India. Few
Mhm.
states are still left because of COVID. We couldn't do all of them. So we are planning in over next few months. We'll try to cover all the states of India. Few of them in Northeast are left, and few in South are left, so that we
Mhm.
can say that at least we have traveled to all parts of India. That's the first vision, and then we'll explore other. Might be we haven't planned it yet. Maybe other countries as well. So that's the first thing. And about the second thing, the advice to any new budding food bloggers is that do it if you are passionate about it. As I said at the start of this interview, so do it only if you are passionate about it. Don't do it for the sake of having followers or maybe just for the sake of the views. Do it only if you are convinced about it, and keep doing it. Like, be consistent with it. Don't be like, say, do it for some time and then leave it.
Hmm.
So keep doing it, consistency, and be passionate. I think that's the two things which I would like to say.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Anubhav, for your time. I hope that you keep inspiring and keep, posting us all about Delhi food like you have always done.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for having me.